Or why not text us on 64046?
Do you have a helicopter? Also ideas for Rufus and Harry, things which will sort of challenge them but also slightly ruin their weekend. Okay, we're going to delve into the pigeonhole now. 3 tracks yet to be released, some of which you may have heard already though because they've been played at previous stages on the show. 2 of them are from a couple of big names that got out new stuff, plus first up, The Hold Steady, and they're releasing Chips Ahoy as a single. Let's have a listen. Touring the UK throughout July and August. That's The Hold Steady and Chips Ahoy, which will be released as a single on July the 11th. Sammy, are you a fan?
I'm sorry to say this, but I was so unmoved. My mind wandered in every direction there until that small bit of Bon Tempi organ worked, and then I suddenly sprung to life, and then I settled back down. I just don't get it. I'm sorry if you like them, but it's just a personal thing.
The Hold Steady, a few of the tracks I've heard have reminded me of The Boss. No Bad Thing, of course. I adore the man. I've got a little bit of man love for Bruce. Have I mentioned this before? Yeah. Him and the bloke off of Prison Break.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's strange. No, you see, very much the sound many people make when they think of him. But so I'm obviously very pro the fact that there's a whiff of The Boss, but not so much on that track. But it didn't tickle your fancy.
Well, apparently 2 of the tracks off their forthcoming album are episode titles for Lost, which is why I listened to the album. I was like, well, they must be good. I was just sorely disappointed.
Sure. Okay, well, it's not tickled your fancy.
I certainly haven't.
Harry?
Well, I thought it was a roaring slab of indie rock. I loved it to pieces. I imagine it would sound great as you lower down in your chopper into Glastonbury.
64046. Are you a helicopter pilot who's just got his licence and has got no friends and no passengers at forthcoming Glastonbury Festival? Wait a minute, you're looking for a minor TV celebrity to take with you, perhaps to unveil the helicopter use. I don't mind cutting a ribbon of some description.
And it was named, of course, Chips Ahoy. So it was obviously named after my favourite brand of biscuit. American cookies, they're very nice.
Oh, is that what they are?
Yeah, but it led me to look for other band-related biscuit stuff on the web, and I thought both the Jammy Dodgers and the Pink Wafers were great names for bands, and neither exist.
The Jammy Dodgers would be great.
If you're an aspiring band, the Jammy Dodgers or the Pink Wafers, I recommend those titles.
Thanks very much. That was dangerously close there to Dave Lee Travis territory.
I know.
And therefore more than welcome on this show. Next up is a new single from The Bravery. Remember how The Bravery had that song called Honest Mistake, which lots of people liked?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they have a new single out on the 18th of June, and here it is, Time Won't Let Me Go. Forthcoming single from The Bravery, Time Won't Let Me Go, is out on the 18th of June. Harry, there you are, there's The Bravery. Thoughts?
Yeah, that washed over me in very much the same way the Hold Steady washed over Sammy, I think. Enjoyable, but I wouldn't really seek it out, I don't think. Nice Bubba Buzz. Reminded me of Jim Will Fix It. We always talk about Jim Will Fix It.
Yeah, let's not, because it's all getting a bit kitsch, isn't it? We're going to be in danger of getting out a bod video in a second. Sammy?
I'm in agreement, washed over me, but enjoyed the Baba Bars and couldn't remember what it was from, and I was just trying to do it in my head there, Baba Batty, but you're right, it is obviously Jimmel.
So the perfect song to try and eat your lunch on a roller coaster too, but other than that,
yeah, that's it.
Alright, well, I have to go to a trail, but after that, new single from Garbage. Garbage, Sammy, have sold over 12 million albums, and they have very kindly put together a greatest hits album for us all, and that is one of a few new songs that's on that greatest hits album. It's called Tell Me Where It Hurts. Do you feel that it has that sort of plodding inevitability about it that we've come to expect from Garbage, or did it charm you?
Is that a leading question?
Wasn't it? I don't know. See, to me, she's starting to sound like Chrissie Hynde.
Is that a bad thing?
Yeah, because I don't like the woman. I've emulated her fringe, I'm aware, but that's because my dad cuts it. And I'm not ashamed to admit that. I don't know, I've never really gotten into Garbage. I loved I'm Only Happy When It Rains. But
No, well, to be honest with you, I haven't had really a chance to listen to them carefully, so I just pulled out a couple of things.
Never admit that, Steve.
Yeah, no, normally, as you know, I listen to them very carefully, but this week I've been rushed off my feet, I just, and sadly my masseuse didn't have a CD player, and so it was a nightmare. But Harry, often when people put out greatest hits albums, they stick on a couple of bonus tracks to try and fool the fans.
It stinks. It's such a rotten thing to do. I blame those big nasty record companies who send us free records every week.
Yeah.
But
some of them have helicopters.
But that song to me sounded like it was written specifically to be played on the National Lottery show. It just sounded exactly like that, and you can imagine, you know, just the bland audience stood there nodding and clapping away. It was rubbish.
And that thing when they're miming on those shows, when the song starts to fade at the end, and clearly someone's just saying clap now, and the applause covers the fact that
absolutely.
Yeah, that Mick Hucknall's not actually singing. No, I know what you mean, and I think the problem is that there comes a time in an artist's life when the song starts and the chorus finishes, and you know that's it. You know there's nowhere else to go with that song, and you've just got another 2 minutes of it. And
let's pack it full of strings and strange bells and what have you in the background. Let's really overdo the production to disguise the lack of a tune.
So a big thumbs up for Garbage. All right, 3 Pigeonhole tracks. We'll play the top of the hour stingy thing. So this is basically in case people are tuning through the stations and they don't know what they're on, they might hear this. Apparently this is the reason, this is the psychology behind it. Apparently if you're listening to commercial radio, the adverts come on at the top of the hour, you're annoyed, so you think, I'll retune to another station, and hopefully you might hear this. From 1979, the specials, and a message to you, Rudy, which should really be in our cover version slot, of course, but I'm sure for the casual Six Music listener, then they're probably more aware of that version than the Dandy Livingston original. It's a Steve Show, BBC Six Music. Thank you for tuning in. And there really is only one subject on everyone's lips at the moment, of course, and it's the hot new TV show Britain's Got Talent. Oh, man alive, this is class. I tell you, genuinely, I'm not joking, it was great. It was absolutely great.
I didn't see this, so talk me through it, please.
Have you ever seen Opportunity Knocks?
I have seen Opportunity Knocks.
Okay, imagine you did that nowadays with Ant and Dec.
Okay, alright, I'm seeing that.
Here's a new feature, alright? It's not just people who come on an audition, okay?
Yeah.
There's a live audience at the auditions, plus a panel of 3 experts.
That's quite a good idea. Revolutionary.
I don't know where they've come up with this idea, but they have roped in the services of Mr. Simon Cowell.
He's done that sort of thing before, hasn't he?
He's had some experience, and I believe he may be involved with this format. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know the ins and outs of it.
He's got a very inventive mind.
A very inventive mind. And number 2, who's the obvious person to judge others? It's Amanda Holden. Of course, a person who should be pointing the finger at other people is clearly Amanda Holden. And number 3, of course, Piers Morgan, former editor of the Mirror, and a man who has always got, for me, the look about him, that feel about him, of the sort of person who at school would have prodded other kids to do mischief, and then when they got in terrible trouble, so I had nothing to do with it, I don't know what he was doing, you know, why don't you set fire to the school? Yeah, okay, Piers, that's a good idea. I don't know what you mean, I just suggested it to him, it had nothing to do with me.
The thing with Morgan is he always looks so smug whenever he's doing that sort of stuff, but also he's got a kind of a sweaty glint to him, like he knows he shouldn't really be there. He's getting away with it somehow.
So anyway, that's your panel.
Okay.
And then obviously the brilliant Ant and Dec are kind of hosting it, and they sort of wheel on essentially various acts, you know, and as you might expect, there are a mixed bag.
Yeah.
Some are freaks, as you would expect from any of these shows, and some of them are surprisingly good. And so the first one last night to have, well, maybe you'd like to describe it, Sammy. I'm thinking of the guy with the scrawny-looking monkey puppet.
I'm so glad you said that. I was in the shower and I had the door open to try and listen to what was going on, and I could hear a Michael Jackson song, but it was Michael Jackson singing it. I thought, well, this isn't someone covering a Michael Jackson song. But wait, no, it was a monkey puppet singing the Earth song.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
Well, that's just a good idea.
It was genuinely really good.
It was
Of course
so
it is.
good.
I don't think I can quite do it justice. I'd be very surprised if it didn't feature somewhere on YouTube. But a man who's controlling a monkey puppet, and the monkey, of course, is, you know, showing its arse and it's dancing and it's pulling funny faces and stuff. It was brilliant.
Well, that sounds really good.
And it got a standing ovation. This is the quality now of entertainment in this country. A standing ovation from the audience, and rightly so. And so there were, you know, there were a couple of dregs, obviously, in there, and there's quite a lot of the usual embarrassments. And then this kid came on towards the end, right, and he was in a kind of white one-piece jumpsuit with a sort of spangly bit and some sort of bleached hair, and he was with his gran, and he was about 18 or 19, and he kept just talking about how he was a twirler. Right?
Oh, right.
Now, a twirler, if you're not familiar, that's industry jargon.
It's a ribbon?
It's a baton.
It's
twirler,
a
baton twirler.
Oh, yeah.
And so apparently there was quite a sad story behind it. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but they seem to hint at the fact that his gran, who was with him, she had a troupe of baton twirlers, and he'd been hanging around baton twirlers all his life, or twirlers as they're known, and he'd grown accustomed to hanging out with twirlers, and he himself had secretly become a twirler.
You're kidding.
But
she didn't know.
He kept no, no, the Gran knew, but she and he had kept it from his parents, who had said, "We don't want you twirling, no son of ours." And it was essentially the story of Billy Elliot in twirling form. And so, but the way they constantly used the word twirler, it started to take on a sort of, it was almost metaphorical in its usage. And so he said, "Yeah, I'm a twirler," and my parents don't know I'm a twirler. And so he goes on and he twirls in front of the panel and the nation.
Yeah.
Once again, audience loves it. On their feet, rapturous applause for the twirler. Yeah. And it was as though he'd come out. He'd come out as a twirler on national television, and he was saying, "I'm hoping my parents are going to be so proud." And I couldn't help but feel, I kept imagining that he'd get home and they're just getting boozed up on a Saturday night, They're kind of wild.
His dad smashed the place up.
Exactly.
No son of mine is ever going to be a twirler.
And the problem is that you just yes, of course, he finds it transcendental when he twirls and everything. That's great for him. It's very much who he is, in his core. But you can't help but feel he's going to get his teeth kicked in when he goes back to school. That's the fear.
Problem.
That's the worry, and I just wonder if there are certain things that need to be kept private and kept secret, and I think an 18-year-old boy twirling could well be one of them.
Well, I know someone who's actually got a twirling injury. This is a true story. I know someone who's done twirling. She represented the West Country at some Olympic twirling championship, but they used to train outdoors, and it was raining, so they had to train indoors. And she threw it up too high, and it hit the ceiling and came down way too fast and hit her on the head.
Oh no!
And she suffered quite a traumatic twirling injury.
Like a pilot who's shot down.
She kind of hangs around the group now, sort of telling them how to do it, and that could have been me. Just sort of hangs around like a bad smell.
Well, do you have any twirling?
I can't believe I had a twirling story.
Anyway, that's why you're here, Harry. But no, anyway, all I would say is that Britain's Got Talent is on every single night this week, and so if you missed it last night, then you must definitely tune in tonight, because there really are some. I'm looking forward to the guy who's doing what appears to be a fantastic Chris Tarrant impression.
Yeah, that's
really teased me for tonight.
But that's all he does.
That's all. I don't know. All I've seen him do so far is Chris Tarrant. So I'm hoping he has more of a repertoire. There was also a kid who I think was 5 or 6, very tiny little kid, and he came on and he told jokes. Right?
10.
Was he 10? Yeah. Super confident, and he wanted to be the new Peter Kay. And he came on and did jokes. Audience loved him. Right? Yeah. But you were watching it, and even as it was coming onto TV, you were thinking you could imagine in about 15 years' time watching those Where Are They Now programs, where he has had any number of drink and drug problems or some kind of
probably a girl,
some kind of girl. Yeah, it's just you could see it waiting to happen. So good luck to him. Let's all vote for him. All right, more music. Maria Taylor, of course, is I think well known to some people as the girlfriend of Connor Bright Eyes Oberst. I don't know if she still is, but she was when she recorded this. He's on backing vocals. The track is Song Beneath the Song. From her first album, 1111, that's Mariah Taylor, or Maria Taylor, I'm not sure entirely how you pronounce it. And Song Beneath the Song. Each week, of course, my guests here in the studio choose songs for me which I'm perhaps unfamiliar with. We heard from Sammy earlier. Next up is Harry, and your choice is what?
I'm going to be playing today, Steve, Soy Tonto by BC Camplight. Now, I went to see BC Camplight on Tuesday night, played at the Fly in London. It was an absolutely spectacular show. I had the best time in ages. I did drink a lot, that might have had something to do with it, but it was genuinely a good show. The album, I think, is one of the most joyous, uplifting things to be released in a very long time. However, my girlfriend seems to think her description of it is silly clown music. Okay. But see what you think. Soy Tonto.
BC Camplight, the choice of Harry this week, and the track Soy Tonto. It's from the album, is it, Harry?
Yeah, the album's called Blink of a Nihilist. There's a single called Lord I've Been on Fire, which is going to be out in July, and expect that to be all over Six Music like a rash very soon.
It's up to you, the listener, to decide. Was it silly clown music or joyful and transcendental? I certainly could imagine a tiny car slowly falling apart as I listened to it. Okay, so each week we like to play, now I'm adding tracks to a sort of imaginary compilation, Songs to Mend a Broken Heart 2, and so far we've had some excellent choices from me. And I just sometimes imagine that there's perhaps a melancholy person on a Sunday afternoon, and perhaps they've recently had their heart broken, and they're looking to me to not so much cheer them up as to sort of help them wallow in their own misery. And that's why I'm choosing different tunes.
Yeah, well, my girlfriend, bringing her back up again, she's particularly melancholy at the moment. If I give you the story, last Easter